actually buy the book. Hi. I'm hoping that somebody will get inspired to buy the book. After all, I'm doing this to help promote a project that will help fund some schools in Zambia. If you want to go to Google and look up BISDAS, it's my friend Patrick's website for the schools that he's trying to build, and the royalties to all of the book sales are going to go to his project. Anyway, so I'm going to read a couple of letters that I penned to my brother in London, who was a great support all the time that I was there. Dear brother, public transport in this country is quite an experience. It is a challenge to get on board in the first place. I sit outside the Bradley fence in the sun and listen. There are, of course, no posted schedules to follow. One just waits. The roar of the engines cause all of us sitting there to jump to our feet, grab our bags and crouch like sprinters at the starting line, waiting for them to appear. They, like London buses, they often roam in packs, arrive, but if I am only going as far as Bindura, 40 kilometers away, the conductors usually slam the doors shut and the bus roars away. However, if they hear Harare, Harare, which is a full fare, I am allowed to on while other locals are pushed aside, punched, or just thrown in the general direction of the wheels. On the roof, one finds trussed-up goats and chickens, double beds, massive blankets wrapped around who knows what, door and window frames, and even a few suitcases. These creative challenges to the theory of gravity, as in the center of, which is defied by the drivers who genuinely love their job and must be in some kind of trance, imagining themselves to be driving the finest Formula One racer as they charge down the highways and dirt roads. Inside, the hot, sweating bodies are packed tight, and below the seats are bags of food, nappies, precious supplies, and cash for the stops where the hordes of school-aged children and middle-aged women swoop on the newest arrival with trays of Freeze-Its, grease-soaked donuts, fresh tomatoes, sandwiches, small fish, and large maize cobs. Some enter the bus, often swimming like fish against the current. Others just bang on the outside of the bus to attract your attention and to transact business through the open windows. Conversations are easily made, especially the curiosity of seeing a white person on the people's transport, and frequently small children want to touch my skin to see if the color comes off. Some are very frightened by the sight of me. Others consider me a new plaything. Many of the women speak no English, but most of the men do, and by the end of the journey there is plenty of handshaking and laughter. One thing is for sure, you will never be lonely on a bus. There is a particular bus that I look for at the market. The conductor marches in front as it pulls away from its stand, flag in hand, and Bob Marley issuing from the speakers. Along the way, we are treated to performances by all three of the crew, including the driver, and sometimes a passenger or three will join in. These guys are comrades, which means they were freedom fighters during the liberation struggle, and people hold them in high regard. When they found out I am a Canadian, they asked me why I had come to Zimbabwe. And when I said I wanted to teach and help educate the next generation, they said, "Thank you," something I don't ever recall from my experiences of teaching back home. Ciao for now, bro. I was also faced with the task of how do I keep my clothes clean? And the answer came in the form of Mrs. Macarao. Now, I'd never hired anybody to cook and clean for me before, but it was a way of spreading the wealth She needed a job, and I gave her an opportunity to earn some money, which otherwise she wouldn't have done. And I uh, accommodated her as best I could, and she thoroughly enjoyed taking full advantage of me. Dear Brow, Mrs. Mackerrow does a reasonable job of cleaning the place and is happy that I pay her what the local teachers pay their cleaners. However, I pay her to work for 4 hours 3 times a week, during which time she does mostly my laundry, punctuated by copious cups of tea and pounds of sugar. The other staff members are somewhat angry with how much I pay her. My source for this piece of gossip is the unfailing Captain Olsen. She is rather scornful of the way they treat their workers, especially as she doesn't employ anyone. This is mostly because the Salvation Army staff have precious little money to spare after they have bought their food for the month. The other teachers do tend to exploit their maids, often working them 12 hours a day and 6 days per week. Mrs. Mackerrow must be about 50, I would guess, based more on the age of her children than her appearance. She would make a wonderful witch in the Scottish play and would need next to no makeup. She sports 2.5 teeth and is invariably grinning. Her skin is dark and leathery, and her stoop is probably the result of having carried too many watering cans and sweeping too many yards in her tough rural life. Her need for money is matched only by the very real lack of it in her life as a wife and mother. I can only imagine the hardship she has experienced, but I must confess I get a little irritated by the endless mantra of the need for more. Recently, I came up with what I had hoped might prove to be a solution. How much does it cost? Uh, how much does a chicken cost to buy, Mrs. Mackerrow? I said to her one day. About $5. Why, you want chicken? I get it for you, yes? Next question. At the bottle store on Saturday night, how much does it cost to buy chicken piri piri? Too much money, she replied. How much money would you make if you had a chicken and cooked it and sold it? I asked her. She thought about this. One chicken make legs, wings, stew, make $10. How would you like it if I gave you money to buy 5 chickens and you can sell them at the bottle store? You can make good money, no? Oh, very good idea. She performed a little dance and held out her hand for the money. The following Monday, I asked her how well things had gone. Very well. When people get drunk, they forget how much money they spend. She laughed at the memory of it, and I could picture her fiddling the change as some drinker leaned in that dangerous way I have only ever witnessed here in Zimbabwe. It was at this point that I wanted to tell her to make sure that she bought some more chicken the next weekend and invested her newfound business. Perhaps I had found her a means of supporting herself even after I left Bradley and moved on. Give me $25. I do that again, she said expectantly, holding out her hand. I was gobsmacked. She had spent the money, perhaps even bought herself a couple of beers, and figured that I was about to give her a steady supply of paid-for chickens and a tidy profit for her bank every weekend, as well as her wages. Ciao for now, bro. Piri piri is a very hot chili pepper. Now, I shortly moved to another school called Chindanduma. And before I left, Elijah from the previous reading ended up asking me if he could borrow $500, and having developed quite a strong relationship with somebody who I thought was very reliable, I sort of gulped and gave him the money. He does turn up again, and for many more adventures later in the book. Anyhow, catch you later.